thank you for joining us today for our webinar titled Your AI Transformation. My name is Saurabh Kumar, and I'm on the marketing team here at H2.ai. I'd love to start off by introducing our speaker, Parul Pandey. Parul is a data science evangelist and a Kaggle Grandmaster here at H2.ai. She combines data science, evangelism, and community in her work. Her emphasis is to spread the information about H2O and our flagship products to as many people as possible. She is also an active writer and has contributed towards various national and international publications. Before I hand it over to her, I'd like to go over the following housekeeping items. Please feel free to send us your questions throughout the session via the questions tab in your console. We'll be very happy to answer them towards the end of the webinar. This presentation is being recorded. A copy of the recording and a slide deck will be available after the presentation is over. Without further delay, I'd now like to hand it over to Parul.
Thank you, Saurabh. A very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned in today for the presentation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon your time zone. So as you all know, of course, you've already seen the topic. I'm going to talk about AI transformation. So AI transformation is a very wide term, and I think we've been hearing this term a lot. No days passes when we do not see an article on Twitter or LinkedIn which mentions AI transformation, and sometimes people believe or they feel that it's too much hype around this term, and what it is it all hype, or is there some reality, or how does AI actually can help in transforming current businesses? So if you have all these doubts, I think this is the presentation where I would like to actually cut through the hype and explain to you various things regarding AI and how it is unlocking new potential in every enterprise, and how at H2O we are helping businesses and organizations get the maximum out of this and spearhead in their AI journey. So organizations today, I think a lot of them are using AI and machine learning technology to make business decisions, to predict some potential issues, or provide more efficient customer experiences. Now, why do they do that? Because obviously, just to streamline their business, get more accurate predictions, and also have a competitive edge over the other businesses. So H2O.ai, we are a visionary leader in AI and machine learning, and we are actually on a mission to democratize AI for everyone. And when we say AI for everyone, we mean for the businesses, for the people, and of course for a better, for a general good. We believe that every company can become an AI company, and that has been our mission, that has been our motto since the company's inception a few years back. What we actually believe is that to gain the expertise in AI isn't only for the AI superpowers, but also we would like to empower companies with our expertise, with our platforms, and we want to train others so that they can also embark on their own AI journey and also become AI independent companies. This webinar, particularly today, will focus on how existing companies are transforming their business with the power of AI, and how can H2O help you to start if you haven't started. So before just diving in, I'd just like to give you a little snapshot of what H2O.ai is. If you've heard about this company, it's good, but if you haven't, so we were founded about 5 years ago, and we've just last year closed Series D funding from various well-known investors like NVIDIA, Pingan, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, which are known names in the industry. Now, H2O is both the name of the company, and it also is the name of our product. That's H2O 3, actually. So H2O is the open source machine learning product, and it's actually used by more than 20,000 organizations, they've been using it and they're benefiting it, and right from businesses to governments to universities, all of them are using H2O. H2O.ai then brought in driverless AI, which is an automatic machine learning platform. It's an enterprise product, and I'll delve into it in the later part of the presentation. More recently, we have brought in our latest product that's called H2Q, and that's primarily aimed for business users. We are a global company. We are headquartered in Mountain View, California, but we have offices New York, London, Paris, Ottawa, Prague, Chennai, Singapore, and we have people working from around the world, around the globe. So we are always open to good, talented people joining a company, and location is not a matter of concern for us. So currently, our team comprises of more than 200 individuals, and that is one of the best talent pool that we have. We have AI experts, best in the field, data scientists, Kaggle Grandmasters, and like Saurav also mentioned, what is Kaggle Grandmasters? For the ones who do not know, Kaggle is actually an online tournament for data scientists, and it hosts machine learning problems, and the best of the best, they actually come and they participate in the challenges, and when they start winning competitions, they get titles, just like you get in chess, and you become an expert, you become a master, and then Grandmaster is that ultimate thing that people go for. And we're proud to have a lot of Grandmasters with the current team. And apart from Grandmasters, we also have industry experts, computing experts, visualization experts. And yeah, and so we have this good, nice team, and we work to give everybody the best product and the best services in the field of AI and machine learning. So let's talk about our mission and our motto. It's democratizing AI for all, and what actually does democratizing means. So we don't just want to democratize AI for the companies. We always look it in this way, that for democratizing AI, we need to democratize AI for businesses, of course, by helping companies transform their businesses with H2O. We also look to democratize AI for people, because we believe that AI is for everyone and not a chosen few. And how do we achieve this? We have our open source H2O platform. Individuals can go, it's open source, you could use it, you could contribute to it, and do wonderful things. And again, the social or AI for good is a very important concern for us. As a society, we believe in giving back. And by this, we actually have this license or academic license that we say of H2O of driverless AI, which is our enterprise product, which otherwise is paid. But if you are into academics, if you are doing, you're an NGO, you're doing it for non-profit, you can avail our driverless AI product for a year license, which is absolutely free. That way, we think you can do wonders with it. And if you have some problem and you want to use machine learning and AI for that, you are more than welcome to use our product for free. Okay, so let's come back to what is happening in the scenario, in the business scenario, or in the market. What are some key market trends in the data science that we keep on hearing? And so we always hear that now AI has graduated from the research labs to enterprise. It's no more the tool that was only used for research processes, but research purposes, but it's now being used in markets, in businesses. And customers again asking for vertical AI solutions. It's not the businesses, but then customers are asking them. Transformation is occurring across all lines of businesses. So these terms are something that we're hearing every now and then. There are some great articles which are coming on, right from Forbes to the leading news articles, we all hear, that yes, things are changing, markets are disrupting, and where we are with respect to that. So transformation essentially isn't an individual term. It's a term which actually clubs three important things together. That's data, that's AI, and that's people. So if only you could transform all three aspects, can you truly achieve a transformation? And how do we go about that? So before we start with all this AI and machine learning, we have to understand, like, is this AI or machine learning something very new? Has it just made its entry in the later part of 2000? No, actually, this has its beginning since 1950s, okay? And that time it was maths and statistics. And gradually over the years, this very field has evolved. And now it's making a lot of progress. And recently we've seen there have been big, you could say, evolutions or big changes that we've seen. Now, for instance, recently we are seeing new models coming up, especially in NLP, that's natural language processing, computer vision. We're seeing rapid progress has been made. It's like after every few weeks, we see the state of the art changing. And there's one model, then you go to another model, and then things are just, changing. So even if you are out from this field for a month, you'll see that things have actually drastically changed. Why this is happening now? Because I think the possible reasons for the successes today is because we have access to a lot more data than we had a few years back. And we also have access to state-of-the-art algorithms and techniques, because essentially what we do with the data is we find patterns in that data. And when we have a lot of data, we would need, we'll get more data, and then we'll be able to find more patterns in that data. But then if you have to find more patterns in the data, we would need more computing power. And today that is possible. This might not have been the scenario a few years back, but today it is possible. There have been major advances both in the hardware sector and in the software sector. So the fact that these three things, data, algorithms, and computing power, have been commoditized. So this is a key enabler to make AI a reality today. And that's why, if you talk about 2020, AI is like spreading like wildfire through various enterprises. So now we know why this is happening. Where is this happening? That's the most important question, because we want to know, okay, so we say that AI is a reality today, but then our companies, our businesses actually using it, or it's just hype? Well, if we talk about our company, H2O, we've been empowering companies, okay? And some of the major Fortune 500 companies, they use H2O products. So we work with the top banks, we work with top insurance companies, we work with top healthcare companies. And you could find some of the logos on the slide, but these are not just only the logos with which we work. So we could not accommodate all of them on a slide. So you'll have names like Citi, you'll have names like Armada Health, you have names like PwC, Wells Fargo. All of them are customers, and they have great case studies or use cases where AI has actually revolutionized their working. And if you are interested to know more about them, you could hop onto our website, h2.ai, and you'll find great case studies and great examples how these companies have transformed themselves. So we at H2O, we partner to make your company an AI company. And how do we do that? So we have experience. We have experience in helping companies in the AI journey. So we have our experts, data scientists, software developers. So they are the ones who make the AI software platforms. And then those platforms then empower the financial services, the insurance sector, the healthcare sector, retail, and whatnot. So we've worked with a lot of companies. We have a lot of experiences. What are the good things? What are the bad things? How should you traverse this whole landscape? So we've learned from the experience of hundreds of use cases in the top financial service companies, Wells Fargo, Citi, Credit Suisse, Capital One, Franklin Templeton, etc. So we work with your domain experts, the ones who are in your company, your data scientists, and we extend and we customize our products to suit your needs. So how does that happen is we at H2O, we support your company through the life cycle of your AI transformation. First, we guide you on your AI journey. We listen to your use cases. We see what is the current business problem that you have at hand. And then we understand what is the data that you have with the data that you have. And then we try to put it on then your data, and we understand the nuances of things and what are the best in the field right now, and then the whole life cycle with you, with your domain experts and your people. Some of examples where we are actually currently working. So digital marketing is an important area today, and by use of machine learning and state-of-the-art algorithms and expertise of H2O, there have been about 700% effectiveness has been brought in marketing campaigns of few companies. Then there's another example of insurance underwriting where you could see 20 million per year dollar savings have been achieved by few companies. Fraud detection today is something that is affecting a lot of companies because it's such a difficult domain to work upon, and it has a lot of things to look after. So we've seen effectiveness in identification has increased by 2 times by using our products. There's use case for supply chain optimization. We are using our expertise in healthcare, where we help in identifying or detecting sepsis, before it sets up in patients. Then there's debt scoring, which is another very important use case, propensity to lease, and so on and so forth. And you're going to see that these are some of the use cases which I think a lot of companies can relate to. These are not only use cases which are common, but which are very important. And a lot of companies today are trying to actually work around them, work around solutions to sort of decrease customer churn by increasing the customer churn prediction. They want reduction in their model building. They want more accurate predictions. So we at H2O, we're actually working currently with a lot of customers, and we've shown great results. Human resource is again a very important aspect of businesses, and you'll be amazed to know that a lot of companies are actually still doing a lot of things manually, whereas a lot of things could be automated very easily. And machine learning has proved that things can be done in a better, much better way. And some of the use cases are, for instance, attrition prediction. Again, employees leaving the company, high attrition rates is a big problem for few companies. So you could identify employees through the historical maybe performance or feedback, and you could predict which employees are more likely to actually leave the company maybe in the coming year, and then you could start intervening preemptively beforehand, before even the person files for resignation. Again, performance review, which most of the companies rely manually on, and I think which is a big task to do. You could apply or you could utilize natural language processing capabilities which are there to review the firm's employee, to review the performance of the employees. Again, you could even broker the performance prediction. You can again leverage the unstructured data, to sort of understand the performance, current performance, and then you could even predict how the performance of the employees. Of course, you need to also keep in mind that correct data has also to be collected, because a model will be as good as the data that you have collected. Then again, where machine learning can be used in case of human resources is recruiting optimization, candidate identification, so on and so forth. Similarly, finance is one of the sector which is tremendously, I think, has been benefited by the use of AI and machine learning. Uh, things like price optimization, audit, forecasting for payroll, financial crime, again, fraud detection, anti-money laundering are some of the use cases in which the expertise of machine learning and AI is being currently used. And IT operations, again, AI remediation and alerts, again, cybersecurity and threat detection, web downtime, outages, these some of those common tasks, I think. And then lastly, customer support. Customer support is again a very important aspect of any business organization, because this could directly, you could directly like benefit from having a good customer support. Otherwise, a lot of time today we see that a lot of people are complaining and they tag on Twitter and they tag on multiple social platforms. So I think improving customer experience is a key to a lot of organizations. Things like auto disclose, transfer agent automation. For instance, if you could utilize AI to cut down the amount of human time required to oversee transfer agent duties, like record keeping, communications, tracking, and transfers. You could use AI for this. You could also use AI to actually identify which is a high value or a high risk call center call, and from a one which is not so urgent or not so important. So these are some of the use cases that we discussed in customer support, in HR, human resource, IT, fraud detection. And we now understand, like, one of our businesses falls in this domain. And yes, I think it's time that we go some better solution to the current existing problem that we have. Now, when we talk about it and we say, yes, we are ready to start our AI journey, but then AI journey is an iterative process. So if you decide, you say, okay, we have this use case with us, and I think let's jump onto the AI transformation bandwagon. So when you think of that, you also have to realize that AI transformation is a journey, and this journey has 5 important steps. So it's very important, firstly, that you have to identify whether you fulfill some of the prerequisites. And by the prerequisites, I mean that do you have these 5 important points? Firstly, is there a data culture in your company? Are you actually telling or thinking that, if we have to actually utilize the machine learning algorithms, we also need to have the right amount of data. So you have to identify firstly a team. You have to look for people that are analytical, they're creative, and they also embrace being data driven. So of course, without data, AI is nowhere. So you have to start thinking about all the sources of where your data is. Where have you kept your data in the databases? And then you have to think how in the first place you're going to get that data, because to work on that data, you'll have to get those data from the silos. Then you also have to create a team. You have to understand that you just cannot create a team in just one day. So you have to understand what sort of different people you require to be on the team: business leaders, data scientists, IT professionals, domain experts. So once you understand that you've created a data culture, then you have to ask the right questions. So not every question or use case will lend itself to AI and machine learning. You just cannot put like machine learning and AI into everything. So you have to look for use cases that help you predict what's happening next. You have to look for patterns in data, and and it has to be quantifiable. You should be able to quantify it. Only then will it be, or will it make sense to actually apply some machine learning algorithms on that data set? Thirdly, it's community. Community is a very important backbone of your organization. You will have to connect to a larger community on AI. Now, if we talk about H2.ai, we have a huge and growing community of open source people. We organize meetups just like this one, and both virtual and of course in person, which is not happening nowadays, obviously. We always believe that we can always learn from each other. There'll be some best practices which will be happening in some other organizations. There'll be some best practices, or there's a new tool which has come out, and things like that. So having a good community base, having good connect with the community is the utmost requirement to actually start with your AI transformation. Because the most important aspect is you have to learn from each other. Next, you have to think about the data and the technology that you're going to use. Where's the data? Would you run it in the cloud or on-premise? Where would you deploy it? Which are the data sources? And what's great for your business? What's not good for your business? Because every business is different, and if there's another organization which is using something, and you'll have to see that you just cannot replicate or duplicate things. You'll have to first see what is acceptable for you and your business problem. Finally, and I think this forms one of the most important pillar for AI today, is trust in AI. Now, you also have to understand today that it's not only sufficient to give predictions. If you predict whether a person is going to get a loan or not, that's not sufficient. Today, you should have the explanation. If a person has been rejected for a loan through some machine learning algorithm, you need to provide an explanation as to why that why it was rejected, why the person cannot get loan, and if this transaction is fraud, why this transaction is fraud. So gone are the days when your machine learning algorithm could be a black box and it would just provide you predictions, and you would take it as God's word. But today you have to learn about explainable AI, and you have to learn about trust in AI, and understanding models. You should understand leads to trust in AI. So we need to understand that AI still requires humans in the loop, and that can actually help us in asking the right questions. We could build right models and can evaluate and assess the output. We could only get trust in AI once we also trust in our models. And if a model is as good as the data, as I've already said, if you have biased data, you are going to get biased results. And of course, then the whole point of using machine learning to take decisions for humans doesn't make sense. So the 5 aspects of creating a data culture in an organization: asking the right question to formulate a business problem, getting connected to the community, using the right technology, and building trust in your AI are the 5 key steps to start your AI journey. Again, like I said, it's the same. It's about creating a data culture, asking the right questions. You need to optimize your processes, innovate to create new products. Again, you need to save time, so you should ask questions whether you need to save time, or you want to increase your customers, or you want to reach out to new customers. So you have to decide what is the question that you want to ask. Again, you need to communicate and community. You need to participate, share, and learn from others. If we see today, a lot of big companies are making their products open source, and the open source community is thriving today. So you also have to understand that sometimes you need to open source your products, open source your technologies, so that it becomes available to community, and that community then starts cooperating with you, working on you, and collaborating with you. And that in turn helps you to grow your product. So also you need to understand about the technology considerations, like whether it's open source or closed source, cloud or on-prem. Do you need to build a product from scratch, or do you think it's better to buy something from the experts? And finally, again, as they say that without data, so you cannot create bricks without clay in the same way. You just cannot have any solution pertaining to artificial intelligence or machine learning without data. So how should this look? So let's have a conversation about how this whole process should look like. So this, if I say this, like sort of forms a whole circle, and how does our team help in that? So again, there are like it's a 5 point. It's sort of a wheel. So our team actually iterates through 5 key steps alongside stakeholders for each use case to focus on the quantifiable and measurable results and work products. So for instance, what we do is we first assess the data that you have at hand. And we see whether this is the sufficient amount of data or the right amount of data that you collected. Once we know that, yes, you've collected the right data and this data does have sufficient, we then start with the use case workshops with our experts. So we have a lot of use case that over the years we know through our experience we've built with our customers and the community. And so we start with the use case workshops. And then once that is done, we start with the accelerated model development via Presales AI. So Presales AI is our award-winning automated machine learning platform. And if you want, you could even get a free trial today if you go to our website. And so what it does is Presales AI does the state-of-the-art feature engineering and has the state-of-the-art capabilities of time series modeling, of natural language processing, along with auto visualization. And it can help you in the model development, and it can reduce the current time. If you are using months for that, it just reduces to a few hours. And once your model is created, we deploy that model, and then we start working on the goal setting, like whether it's about increasing the revenue or it's about decreasing the cost or whatever is your use case problem. So this is an engagement cycle that we do with our customers, and it's an iterative cycle which goes on and on. And all this is made possible by the wonderful team that we have. And like I've already told you about the team, we have experts from all the field. And along with that, we also have the Kaggle Grandmasters that I talked about. And the best part is this team of, again, all our people are globally distributed. We work from all the corners of the world, but even our Kaggle Grandmaster team is also globally distributed, and they work from all corners of the world. And you can also find me here. Okay, so the projects are backed by, so these are the 10% of the world data science grandmasters who are like, who've actually shown their expertise in this real world competitions, and they've actually, they're relentless in solving your critical problems, and they work with you day and night. They work with you in formulating your problems, your business solutions, and right from use case discussion to deployment, they are there to assist and support you. So yes, this was the whole AI transformation cycle that we talked about. How if you have a current business problem and you're thinking, you could get on a call with us, you could ask for our expertise, and we could actually help you in transforming your business landscape to a more better, faster, and successful use case so that you can be essentially become an AI transformed organization. So I'm open to questions, and you could either mention it in the Q&A tab or You could even connect to me. I'm very active on social media. You'll always find me posting something on LinkedIn or Twitter, so you can connect with me there also. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions. Thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Parul. We have questions coming in. Let's just get to it. The first question is, how should organizations look at AI to solve point problems? For example, launch a scheme. Is this an ongoing process? If yes, how?
Well, yes, like I said, it's always an ongoing process. Why? Because you deploy any solution for a problem, and then you get results, and then you start optimizing those results, and then you have to again optimize your models, and so it goes on. So of course scenarios change, and you have to also understand what is that you require from your model, and your use case might change. For example, you deploy a model for revenue cost decrease, and when you deploy it, and yes, after a few months you start seeing there's a decrease, and now you want to shift it from something else to more optimizing some other parameter, and then you would have to make changes again in your model, and then you'll deploy it again. And so again, it's an iterative process, like I said.
Great. This is an interesting one. Given all these pros about AI transformation and the current situation brought up by COVID, how can we handle the cons of this transformation? That AI transformation is not a silver bullet to make every solution be AI driven, and misunderstandings about where AI should and should not be used.
Yeah, so like at H2O, and of course we are the creators of an AI platform, but again we emphasize on this thing: not every problem can be put as a machine learning problem. And the most important aspect of any AI transformation actually is identifying the use case. So whether does that use case is even fit to be considered as something that can be resolved by AI, or if it doesn't even need that. So most of the energy, I think, of an organization, of a team, should actually go into understanding how to formulate your use case, your business problem as a use case. Because only once that is clear, then you can weigh on the pros and cons whether you should actually apply AI or you shouldn't apply AI. But before that, as an organization with the experts and with all the specialists that you have in a team, you have to first sit down and see what is the problem actually, what is your use case, and does your use case actually rely with the current use cases that company has? Or maybe you could reach out to you could even reach out to us, and we could also explain to you how could you modify your use case in a better way, so that will applying some machine learning algorithm on it will actually give you benefit. So again, that is the most important part of any life cycle of any project, I think. And you have to, as a company and as domain experts, you have to weigh in. Saurabh?
Great, thank you. How is explainability used in H2O platforms?
Yes, so that's a very good question. Now, we have actually inbuilt this module into our platform that's called machine learning interpretability module, because we at H2 think it's by far the most important aspect of any AI solution. And so we have an inbuilt module of MLI, which we call short for machine learning interpretability. And this gives you the various explanations. For example, if your model has predicted whether the loan has been denied to this person, and then you can go into that module, and that will actually give you through various model explainability algorithms like Shapley values, like line features, and this actually gives you the explanation: why do you think, why does the model think that this person will be granted a loan or will not be granted a loan? So that gives you reason codes. So if you have to put it out in front of the regulators, you can easily download from there, and you can give it to the regulators or anybody who wants to understand, so why your model predicts this for this and that for that. So MLI is an inbuilt feature in Travelers AI. We don't go for any external resources. So that just comes bundled up with the existing platform.
Great, thank you. How can AI be used in education?
So I think, in fact, most of the times you only look for businesses which generate revenue for applying machine learning and AI capabilities. But sectors like education, and especially if I talk about countries like India, from where I come, would definitely help. So in addressing a lot of issues, for example, we could actually predict, or we could use the historical data to sort of predict which children are at the would drop out of the school, or what is the age group of children who sort of are dropping out of the school. And then, the governments can utilize the data and start intervening proactively. Again, we could even see a lot of other things, probably what is the if there are people who are dropping out, the children, and we could see from the historical data what is the uh, financial situation you could predict from there. So I think the most important thing about education is that you need to get the right amount of data first, and then you have to decide uh, how do you have to, what are the fields that you're thinking you want answers to. And then I think, yes, in that way, like I said, just one issue of predicting which children are the ones who would sort of drop out from schools. And this I'm talking about actually about the children who are less privileged ones. So these are the sectors which I think AI can have a tremendous impact. And working with the government and other NGOs, there could be a lot of other educational issues which we could plug in.
Thank you, Farah. How can AI be used in automation or hyper automation?
I just wanted to know, to be very specific, what kind of automation are we looking at? Because automation actually can be a lot of things. You want to automate the churn process, you want to automate the employee feedback process. You could automate a lot of things. So what exactly, which sort of automation are we looking at here? And if there are some questions which you think you have more questions, you can just visit our website h2.ai, and over there you have a lot of use cases. You have white papers. We have some videos from the companies itself for talking how they are using h2.ai. So just have a look there. There's a wide variety of resources present there. You could read our blogs. And if your answers are not answered here, please just go back and hop onto the website. And I think things will even get more clear to you.
Great, thank you. This is a long one. After a model has been deployed in production based on results from training data, and later we find that the model does not produce expected results in new unseen test data, what is a good strategy to handle the situation? Should we add new data to training data and retrain?
So now I would want to answer it in terms of driverless AI. So because I hope you're asking me in terms of how our product will handle this. I think the most important aspect of any machine learning model training is the validation strategy. So if you have a good validation strategy, which is representative of the real situation, I think you are going to get comparative results as would for that unseen data also. So, and if you talk about good validation strategy, our driverless AI handles all of it very efficiently, very effectively. And it has a lot of genetic algorithm that has been built into it. So we don't usually encounter such problems. But again, if we do, then of course we could get back and see why the results haven't come out good. And if actually our training data is completely different from our test data, that could happen completely if you have two separate sets of things that you're working on, obviously. But driverless AI, we have things in place which actually takes care of a lot of such issues beforehand.
Thank you, Parul. How can we use AI for fake news detection?
So for fake news detection, I think natural language processing module of, so again, so I'm getting two sorts of questions here. I'm getting general AI questions and questions pertaining to driverless AI, but I would want to answer them in context of our product because that's what the whole presentation is about. So driverless AI comes with a natural language processing module also. And just like fake news detection is done using other algorithms and other libraries, in the same way, we have to, but the only thing about driverless AI is you have to formulate your problem in form of a supervised problem. So you will need to give in training data where you have to label the data as fake or not fake, and then it'll create a model, and then once you put in the test data again, and then it will give you predictions. So the whole concept is you have to formulate the data first into a supervised learning problem. And then it's just like normal supervised problem.
Thank you. Does H2O.ai also perform fundamental research? Would you like to take that?
So yeah, so we do have like research. Obviously, a lot of research we do is in the machine learning explainability scenario, where we have people who have written papers which have been submitted in the a lot of publications, and then H2O, our open source platform that we have. So since we are the creator of the platform itself, we have papers, again, they're researching, they're benchmarking it regularly, and so, to present, to see if there are certain improvements or some other tools are coming into the whole scenario. So they've been working on that. And Saurabh, you could also add something to that.
Absolutely. So most of our data science experts, have a rich background in academia. Our panel of advisors comes directly from Stanford and the best AI research engines of the world. So most of what goes into building our products is thorough AI research, and you can find papers and patents available on all sorts of search engines. With people in our company, and our CEO itself, right? So there's immense amount of research that goes into everything that H2.ai does. Okay, next question. Do you find more customers coming to you to apply new tools to a well-defined business problem, or more who are looking to see what things might be possible with new tools and techniques?
So the customers that come to H2O are interested in the tool that we have to offer them. They definitely come with some use cases that we have seen, but there are times when they come with some problems which are effectively new. And that way they ask for our expertise and they look for answers. So how we could provide them, or how we could advise them on how to use our existing tool to their own problems. But of course, our customers would want to use our tool. That's driverless AI and H2O in that sense. But yes, their problems do vary from being relatively known to even some absolutely new, which has not been heard of.
Absolutely. We all know that AI and ML are very need of today's society, but to date, no engineering universities are teaching accordingly. Okay, how can we encounter this problem? Does H2O have something to improve this kind of thing? So there are multiple questions on, how can I learn about AI? How can I make the switch?
Okay.
And I think you're well equipped to answer that.
Yes, okay, so I think glad you asked about it, because yes, I think this has been an ongoing problem because, and there are a lot of, I think, institutions, or I would say companies, which are also minting a lot of money based on that. Uh, AI and machine learning are something I think that it's something that you get with, again, experience, and I think working in a domain. Uh, so of course the base is stats and programming, and if you are well versed with those, then you start applying it. I think Kaggle is a great platform where you want to see some real life problems and how companies are using machine learning, because you have problems from forecasting to NLP to state-of-the-art computer vision, for instance, fake news detection and stuff like that on Kaggle as competitions. So you could practice there. You could see, not necessarily you have to participate in competitions, you have to win competitions, but you could definitely see what kind of problems are there, what kind of problems exist in the world, and how do companies uh, use tools to actually cater to those problems. And H2O very recently has launched the Learning Center also. So that Learning Center is sort of an academic program where you could, free of cost, get access to a lot of courses, a lot of tutorials. So there are fundamental courses for AI and machine learning. And apart from that, we have curated courses for our products. So if you want to know how to start working with driverless AI or how to work with H2O3, and of course, I think there will not be a better platform than the company which has actually created the products. So we are going to have courses on driverless AI, courses on H2O3, courses on other offerings, other products that we have to offer. And you could learn at your own pace. There would be instructor-led courses also. So that will be a great way where we'll be giving you some real life business use cases where you'll work, and a lot of business use cases are the ones that we have been actually, we've deployed it to some of our customers. And apart from this, so Kaggle and H2O's Learning Center, I think if you do a mix of these two, you should get a good understanding of how things work in the industry. And again, reading some research papers, what's happening, so that you know what is happening in the world right now. You don't need to understand everything, but you should be well aware of how things are changing. So if you just divide your time between all these three, I think you should be in a sufficiently good position.
Thank you, Parul. Next question is, at a pre-sales phase, does an AI ML expert company talk with tech guys or with business guys?
Okay, so in the pre-sales phase, we also have a data scientist who works with the company. So if you are a company and you know there's a problem and you approach H2O, so we're going to have a team which comprises of tech people, we'll have sales people, we have customer data scientists, and customer success people, and they will talk to you. So from your end, if you are a company, so if you're asking a question from your end, so you could have like anybody who is well aware of how machine learning works and things like that. But from H2O, you're going to have a full-fledged team, which will comprise of technical experts at all levels, from sales to pre-sales to data science to machine learning, even Grandmasters into that team, so that when we start working with you, we have a complete idea as to where we are going and what can be the use case, and how we can use AI and machine learning, how can we help it. And it makes complete sense that we understand your problem like from the initial phase. So we have that complete team that works right from the start till the end.
Thank you, Parul. Are solutions at your customer's place deployed on cloud or with their internal infrastructure or with your infra? Are your customers bothered about data security?
So I think It depends upon wherever the customers want to deploy it. It could be, it's like agnostic, okay? It's your infrastructure, you can deploy it. However, you can have your own security specialist there. So that is completely your purview.
Thank you, Parul. Last question before we close. Hi, ma'am, I'm a big fan. How was your journey to Kaggle Grandmaster and H2.ai?
I think it was an amalgamation of a lot of hard work, persistence, perseverance, and enjoyment. It does take a lot of effort to become a grandmaster, but again, if you enjoy that journey and you have support of the wonderful people around you, like I showed you, we had this amazing team of people around. I think it has been a very memorable one, and I would encourage everybody to actually invest in some learning throughout there, even if you have a current job or you don't have a job. It's always worthwhile to invest in learning something new. It's definitely worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Parul. Any final thoughts before we conclude?
Well, I'd just like to say, if anybody of you would want to get in touch with the H2O team and you have questions, you have more questions about, or you're interested to understand how the whole process works, you're more than welcome to reach out to me at parul.pandey@h2o.ai. I could connect you with the relevant person, or whatever is it, we could take it forward. So please don't hesitate. And if you have any feedback or you want to know anything about h2.ai, please feel free to bump me on my email. Thank you.
Thank you, Parul, and thank you to everybody else who joined us today for this presentation. We'll distribute the presentation recording and slides shortly after this is over. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.